Ballers, lots of drama, Las Vegas, and a special guest up next on Ballers.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, wow. I'm in savage mode.
Oh, we're in savage mode. A little turned down. We're not turned up tonight. We got a guest in studio.
Yeah.
I mean, we do need alcohol, right?
We should have brought it.
Alcohol.
Special guest.
It could have been on Chris, right?
Terrible.
It's Jill Monroe. Welcome to the Ballers After Show. We're not alone tonight. We have a special guest. Did you watch tonight's episode? I know you did.
I sure did.
Hell yeah.
Kassan is in the house. Kassan, did I jack that up? Kassan, Chris Lofton. I'm good. Chris Lofton. Chris, tell them where they can find Chris
welcome.
D. Lofton. I almost forgot that you can't leave out the D. I was just told how important that is. So Chris D. Lofton, where can they find you?
Indeed, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lambo Loft, L-O-F-T, Lambo Loft. Indeed.
And also, do I love my lovely host, Ivana and Suzette?
I thought you were going to say something, so I was like, wait.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say something else too.
What's up, everyone? I'm Ivana. You can find me on Twitter at Ivana L. Williams or on Instagram at Ivana.Williams.
What's up, you guys? Suzette here. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Suzette Bab.
All right, so Ballers, episode 3, season 3, in the teeth.
Yeah.
So first reaction on the episode, Spencer's always in drama once again.
What else is new?
It's the same old story. Let's just be real. Like, it is. It's the same as the last seasons. Like, he's going to do something. He's not. He's going to screw it up. He's going to get a deal. He's going to come up with money.
And then it all comes together.
Right, somehow. Or it may not.
You never know.
All right, so this episode we go in, Spencer is headed back to Vegas. He wants to talk to the Raiders. He's still trying to get everyone on board for his plan to bring
not
a
give it up.
NFL team to Las Vegas. Obviously, he's targeting the Raiders. Why? Because
That's who's going to come to Vegas?
yeah.
Sorry.
No. If that's
What?
who is coming
Yeah,
to
that's
Vegas,
who's coming to
to use
Vegas.
in real life. Okay.
In real
This
life,
is their last
yes.
year season.
No,
okay.
I got you.
Come on, I need you guys to up your sports knowledge.
I
You gotta help me out. You gotta help me out.
Can't you have the one person that's not a sports person?
I mean, but it's
Yeah.
Ballers.
But it's okay.
It's Ballers, though.
But a
Ballers,
fun
right.
fact about that is we actually had that written in the script before it ever came out. That the Raiders,
And with the Raiders as the team to be
with
going
the
as
Raiders
well.
moving to the team as well.
Okay.
And
Forward
that's-
thinking.
And that's a fun fact.
Or someone from the inside. Someone from the inside.
That's
Just
out
like
of my
he's saying,
hands.
who's leaking things. Just like Spencer's saying, who's leaking all the information.
I don't know, but we had that in the script before.
Nice.
That's a fun fact.
Okay, so before we get deep into the episode, let's
Yeah.
talk about your character as Kassan. We just got introduced to him last week. He's a running back from what part of Florida?
I'm from Overtown, Florida. My character's from Overtown. That's like the projects hood out there in Florida. I got to go visit. I'm going to Miami next week, and I'm a stop through Overtown.
Alonzo Mourning
I was
has a
about to ask,
charity
have you
there.
been there?
Nah, I've never even been to Miami, which is
Really?
crazy.
Wow.
I've been shying away.
What's wrong with your life?
Nah, what it is I just been shying away from Miami because I'm a very visual person, like insanely visual person to a fault almost. So
Okay.
the perception that I have in
You don't
my
be
head of
disappointed.
what Miami is, I don't want to taint it by
Yeah.
going and not being at the capacity in which I believe Miami to be.
I'm sure Miami is
So
gonna
I
be
just sit it out.
So that means you need a table at Live. You
Exactly.
need prime
Yeah.
rib,
Unless I'm
you need
doing
to be
that.
on the beach, hitting all the spots.
And that's what's
I
going to happen
dare
when you go.
Right, and now
gonna
I
be laid
waited
out.
it out.
Yeah.
I'm 29 now. It took me 29 years, but now I'm hosting a party at Dream in Miami.
Yeah.
Next
You
Friday.
heard it here.
Look at that.
Let him know.
Right.
Next Friday. Can you
Next
say
Friday.
when and where?
Next Friday.
Okay.
Miami, Dream. I'm hosting a party, Ballers Party. We in Miami.
Nice.
First time back in Miami because Ballers that's our home.
Yeah.
so
What's up?
so
Well,
yeah, I'll be
actually,
out there.
LA is your home now.
Well,
Appreciate
LA is
it,
our home,
embrace
but
it.
Miami's still the first home.
All right.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, it should,
All right,
it should be
so
fun. It should be fun.
time. So, all right, let's jump back.
Can we get on the list?
Are you flying to Miami?
Can we get on the flight? You got a jet.
Take off the
Oh, I ain't got it
jet.
like that yet. Kassan might have a jet. Chris is flying Delta. Chris on that Southwest price match.
Yeah.
So let's talk
Southwest
about your
member.
character. I noticed shades of you're a very outspoken guy. You're looking for a new agent because you want a new contract. You're in trouble because of your outspokenness. You said something about Muslims, I think, was
Yeah.
mentioned in this episode. You also have some friends that are kind of still caught up in the life from your old life that were, getting some party favors and maybe got a lot of party favors
Right.
and got caught. So first of all, are you a former athlete? And then are there any, because a lot of these characteristics are stories that are real life happening in the NFL currently, things going on. Are there any players where you took bits of inspiration from to sort of put together your character?
Oh, that's my question.
Oh yeah. You got both of
You
both of us.
still
We're gonna sit back and relax.
Questions in a row. I'm like, that's all my questions.
All right.
Well, I'll give you one. Well, I can say that
Answer for Ivana.
the majority of what I took from it was a little bit of myself, because yes, I am a former athlete. I didn't play in college because I actually turned down. I had a full ride to Grambling State University.
Because you're a child actor.
Yeah, I turned down a full ride to play football and baseball. I was a big baseball dude. Played center field.
Wow.
Yeah, I was real big baseball
I read that
dude.
on IMDb.
The money.
Just because I read that on IMDb.
The money sport.
Yeah.
We know
I was-
baseball is the longest
yeah.
guaranteed contracts.
Right, exactly. So I was on that baseball wave for like my entire life, and then football kind of came in high school, and I was just pretty good at it. So I ended up getting a partial scholarship for football as well, so I wouldn't have to pay for anything. So, but I turned it down to keep pursuing acting, and I would say I draw from my experiences, some of my teammates that I know, and I have a lot of friends who still play football currently, either in the NFL or overseas or whatever stuff like that. And one of my friends, I take a lot though from Aqib Talib, plays for the Broncos. That's the homie, man. I met him not too long ago, maybe a couple months ago at the Playboy
He's
event.
extremely outspoken.
Yeah, he's
gets
dope.
Up and
No, he's dope. He's real though. Like I walked up to him. I'm like, yo, bro, I know you from somewhere. I didn't even realize that was who he was. I was like, bro, I know you from. He just looked like one of my homies from Chicago. I was like, bro, like. He was like, nah, but I'm in tune with the ballers though. I'm gonna be watching you. I'm gonna be watching you. And he hit me up on Instagram the other day. Bro, you killing it. You real.
Yes.
You real, bro. You real. He was like, hit me up. Let me know if you coming out here for a game. So I'm gonna hold him to that. I'm coming.
You going to see the Broncos play?
Yeah, I'm going to that probably
Who's
that
your
Denver
team?
Patriots game. I'm a Raiders fan.
Are you a Raiders fan?
I'm a
How
Raiders fan.
How are you from Chicago and a Raiders fan?
I got converted, man. I got converted since being out here, man. So I can't. He
In the 2 years since being out here?
Yeah, hey, it was a strong conversion to say the least. It was a strong conversion.
Can we talk about that too, though? Your 2 years being out here, like
Okay.
how did you get Ballers? What was the process like?
Yeah.
Well, honestly, what's crazy, the things leading up to it was really the process, but the actual auditioning process for Ballers, I booked it off one audition. I didn't have a callback. I didn't have any, I swear to you, I called my mom when I left the audition. As I'm walking down the stairs, something came over me and I had like goosebumps over me and I felt like I don't know what happened to me and I couldn't explain it. But I called my mom and I said, Mom, I'm gonna get that.
You knew.
And I said, Mom, shit may change, but it's gonna be good. And she's like, Are you okay? I'm like, Mama. I said,
no,
Mama,
it's all good.
take my
You're
word
right.
for it. Take my word for it. I promise. But leading up to that, like you said, I've only been out here 2 years. I moved out here July 21st, 2015, and I bought a one-way ticket. And I had $185 in my pocket, like literally. I had no job, I had no car. My friend said you could sleep on my couch. Cool. And I did that for a while, working jobs, was working at 24-hour fitness. I was working, just working wherever, doing that. And I did it for months and months and months, but I was auditioning and still going to work and still doing this. And I was working 2 jobs and I was like doing side work and I was still auditioning. And then like a year and a half went by playing that game. And then I slowly but surely, I booked The Quad on BET. I booked 2 episodes of The Quad on BET. I went to Atlanta for like a Friendsgiving thing that I do with my friends every year in Atlanta. Because I lived there for like 4 years, and that's where my parents live now. So I'm like, Atlanta's like my second home. So I'm there a lot. And I was down there, and I have an agent there as well. So they got me an audition for The Quad while I was in town. I auditioned for that. Got back to LA and started my new job that same day. Found out I booked The Quad, had to fly to Atlanta like 2 weeks after I had just gotten the job. End up getting fired from that job because I called off for 5 days to go film The Quad in Atlanta. I get back home from Atlanta filming The Quad, go to work the next day. They tell me, you can go home, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Come back, they give me my last check, I'm fired.
Wow.
A week later, I auditioned for Ballers, and then the day before Thanksgiving, they called and told me I got Ballers.
It's incredible. I love it.
Literally.
Wow, that's so up and down.
Literally.
Oh my
Right?
goodness.
The
But
emotional
it's
journey of an
way
actor.
down.
Literally.
I'm telling
But
you.
that's not so up and down. I mean, that's incredible for 2 years and then start booking. Like,
Yeah,
That's
like
awesome.
it was
It's
a
meant to
trickle
be.
effect. Yeah, it was a trickle effect. I booked a short film first,
like
and then
The
it just,
timing was right on.
Yeah.
You were right on.
Yeah, man. I don't
So,
know.
Kasan is such a strong character. He has such a strong personality. What are some things that you really admire about his personality that you like connect to?
I connect to the outspokenness, like you say, because I take myself to be that way. Like I told one of my homies, actually my brother right there. I told him just the other day. I said, and me and him are the same way in this matter. I say that my personality is very big, and I do that on purpose to weed out people. Like I make a conscious decision to be as outspoken as I am because I don't like shades of gray. It not when it comes to people who are around me. I want it to be straight black and white. You either are gonna hate me, want to beat my ass when you see me, or you're gonna be like, man, you know what? I'll get that dude the shirt off my back. Anything he asks for, no questions asked. I love him, and that's the personality that Kasan has, and I feel like that's what I admire the most about him because I feel like we are alike in that sense, and I purposely, consciously do that. I say some things that I know could probably rub people the wrong way, but I feel like I've mastered the art of saying inappropriate things, but saying them in such a way where no one takes offense.
Okay.
I've mastered that art because I'm very blunt. I'm very blunt.
Okay.
But I've mastered that. It took some time.
Yeah.
And ex-girlfriends may hate it and
What's
stuff
the
like
time
that.
where being blunt got you in trouble?
And all growing up in school, like I was that kid in school who was like telling the teachers, you know, what do we need this for? Ain't nobody ever gonna ask me what does X
You're
and Y
challenging.
equal.
Yeah, you're challenging
I was
them.
that. I was that guy. Like this makes no sense. Why are we
Right.
doing this? Teach me how to get a loan. Teach me what an IRA is. That's what I said. Teach me that. I'm in 8th, 9th grade saying this to teachers. Like I done said, this means nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
I said, teach me about that. These
Real life.
everything.
Yeah.
Teach me how to fill out a 1099.
That's how I feel.
Was that,
That's
but do
real.
you think part of that experience came from the fact that you started acting early and were introduced to a business world, so it made you sort of more business savvy at that age, sort of knowing the things that it would take?
I would definitely say that childhood kind of went out the window after hardball, especially because, you know, at that point in time, like I didn't come from no rich family. We wasn't like poor, no craziness like that. Like I wasn't like, you know, it wasn't nothing super crazy like that, but we weren't rich. So when you got your 11, 12-year-old son making kind of a little bit of money like that, it was like, you kind of not a child no more. It went from, oh my God, it's my birthday, it's Christmas, to, no, you buying your own damn presents. You got money. You got what you want me to go get for you?
Right.
Whatever you want me to go buy, I'll buy it. But no, like it went from that to I'm looking around, we getting kitchens remodeled and garages put up in the back. I was like, I'm like, this is nice, Mom. And 10 years
So you
later,
had
I
some
found
serious
out, oh
checks.
shit, y'all used my money for
You
that.
had some serious checks.
I didn't, That was my money y'all used to fix the kitchen. That's okay though. I love
were
the kitchen.
your parents your managers, or
No, I didn't have a manager because like I had never been an actor before hardball. Like hardball was right place, right time.
Right.
I literally heard something on the radio, and then somebody at my mom's job had told her about what they heard on the radio and was like, you should take Chris. And I honestly thought it was a baseball team. I didn't even think it was, I didn't know it was a movie.
Right.
I just heard them on the radio saying, we looking for some young black boys that play baseball. And I'm like, okay, I'm young, I'm black, and I play baseball. Take me. And my mom took me. It was an open call audition. 500-600 kids showed up, and they picked 5, and I was just one of the 5. Never acted before in my life, so I didn't have no manager, nothing like that. And my parents, they don't know nothing about the industry. My parents moved from Mississippi to Chicago. When they had my sister, like completely different, like a culture shock change. You know what I'm saying? From the backwoods of Mississippi.
going
to,
up north?
like,
Yeah.
Yes, man. Like my parents are country, so they went up north. They went up north to try to give us a life, give us a chance, and I appreciate them for that. I appreciate them for that, for real. So
Sacrifice.
yeah, indeed,
That's
indeed.
powerful.
So let's kind of put a pin in that there and bring it back to the episode.
Yes.
Let's see. So we saw Joe trying to strike down the high-powered deal, but actually going to learn with Reggie about what the weed line is about. And they deal with a lot of pain tolerance, pain
Low
medication.
THC, like I said, is what they
like
would
you
need,
said
and
last
high
week,
CBD.
CBD.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. See, I was right.
Right.
Look at you with your marijuana knowledge, being that
know.
California is
Look at me.
Hey, and Reggie
a
has it
medicinal
too.
and recreational
It's
Yeah.
legal. It's
state. It's legal
legal
here.
here.
So we learned a lot of things about that. Joe did nothing to sort of convinced them that this still wasn't the move. Actually, he's more into it now than perhaps before.
Yeah.
So all those edibles, I'm like, Joe, slow down now, though.
Right, especially with the edibles, because that's like death.
Edibles
Like all the
are
little gummy bears.
Edibles will knock you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes,
I can't.
kids,
I made my stomach
don't
hurt
do
just
drugs.
watching him do that.
Don't do it.
Yeah, and we also saw Ricky still going through his paces with Amber
Shout out to
and
Oh my goodness.
showing up at the hospital to check on her to see what her status was, if she was pregnant, if
Well,
the baby
only
was
after
healthy.
his dad like forced him basically.
Which I find is
Only after.
interesting.
Makes no sense.
He's only known her like 6 weeks, and nobody's like, "Hey, you should have some question marks. Hey, you should check into her background." Everybody's like, "This is great."
Yeah.
But also, didn't we say Dennis was never there for his son? So
Right.
why is he so like, you need to be there for
Because
her?
But maybe that's
Because he
probably
wasn't
why.
there
Yeah.
before,
Maybe.
and he knows what
Yeah, but he was
happened.
acting so almighty, like you have to go and
Right.
Because he knows,
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
knows the hurt that he
Really?
inflicted
Yeah.
in his
I feel you.
absence as a professional athlete,
He
and
learned
he
the
wants
hard
to
way.
break the cycle.
Indeed.
I know
I know you
okay
can't
with
tell
that.
us, but will we ever see his mother, Ricky's mom?
Oh.
Well, then
Wow.
he can't tell us.
Is that it just
I don't even think I know the answer to
we're
that
still
one.
so
Honestly.
confused.
Are you sure?
I don't because
Are you sure?
I'm honestly
You're
watching
such a good
these
actor. Come on,
episodes
tell
when,
us.
when everybody else watches them. I'm
All
watching
right,
them for
all
the
right.
first time.
Okay, so as you're shooting, how much of yours do you know a lot about your storyline in advance, or are you getting it as the episodes come up? How is the shooting schedule broken out for you?
Well, yeah, I get them as the episodes come out, but they don't necessarily give us the scripts if we're like not in those episodes. So I get all the scripts to every episode that I'm in.
you are
So
in.
if I'm not in, say I'm not in episode 3, I don't even know what's gonna happen.
Right.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like literally we all watch it, and if they're not in episode 2, they don't even know. So we're all kind of like
Experiencing it
Yeah,
together.
we're experiencing
Yeah.
it together. Like I can tell you everything that's gonna happen in the
To you.
episodes I'm in because I read those like
Okay, can
like
you?
a book.
So who was your favorite of the actors and actresses on the show? Who was your favorite pairing up with as far as doing scenes? Like, who did you feel like you learned the most from?
Well, I've the majority of my scenes have been with Troy Garrity, and like he kind of took on a dope position in my life. Like I love Troy, man. Troy is dope. Like Troy is super humble, smart as hell. I don't think Troy gets enough credit. Honestly, for this show, I honestly think Troy is like the most underrated person on the show.
He's Hollywood royalty.
Like,
Right, he really is.
Like really, and I had no clue about
Yeah.
that. And that's what that goes to show you about his
For those
humbleness.
that don't know, Troy's mother is Jane Fonda, who
Right.
is a Hollywood legend. icon.
Exactly.
And
She
Wonder
has her own
Woman
theater.
probably works out. So.
That's what I'm saying, and that just goes to his humbleness. Like I said, like I would have never have known that.
No,
he
right.
doesn't. He doesn't mention it. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't even like. Troy is like just the dopest dude, and he kind of took me under his wing, and he's like, "Yo, if you want to stay on this show, Chris, that's what you're gonna have to do." He's so cool, like Troy. Troy's so cool. That's what you're gonna have to do, Kassan. You're gonna have to do this, Kassan. If you're gonna have to bring it.
What's
That's-
one piece of advice he gave you
That's what.
about making sure that you
stay
made an
on.
impact in your role?
He told me to just really be Chris. He said, "Don't." He said, "Cause Kassan is Chris and Chris is Kassan, basically in so many words." He says, "Be this guy, the guy that you are talking to me right now. Be him." He was like, "No, have some fun with it though." He said, "Add to it, spice it up. That's why they got you here." He said, "They got you here to be." He said, "Don't be timid and hold back because you're trying to keep your job."
Right.
That's basically, and that's kind of, and I literally, my first episode 2, last week's episode, when I watched it, that very first scene when I first get introduced and Joe comes in the office and I'm already sitting there, that was literally my very first day on set with
Wow.
Rob. My very first day on the show, and when I'm watching it, I can see the nervousness and the don't do too much, Chris. Don't do this.
Oh, I'm gonna have to
Don't-"
watch it back
like,
then.
and I can see it.
We
Like,
can see it.
I loved my expressions and my facial expressions, but I hated when the words came out. When I watched it, I'm like, why did I say that like that? Why did I say? But I'm like, I can see my nervous. I can see the first day. Just do
Yeah.
your job. Don't do anything extra. Don't have the script supervisor coming out here saying, hey, you weren't supposed to say that. Don't. Just say what they want you to say, do what they want you to do, be professional, But then that very last scene when I go get the money back for Jason, that was my very last day on set. That was the day we
So you're more
wrapped.
relaxed.
And you could tell the difference.
Yeah.
And to me, I could, like, you could tell, like, that scene right there was so just raw and off book and off the page, and they gave me free will, and I just had a whole different confidence, even from the way I got out the car. Just got out the car, just like I'm like, bro, I've been doing. We've been here 2-3 months filming. Now let's hurry up. I'm ready to go home. Like I'm ready to go home. We in Long Beach. It's like 1 a.m. and I did this 33 times. I'm like, come on, I'm ready to kill this shit and go home. Like, and the confidence was different, and I could see it translate on camera, so that was like really fun for me to watch.
How do you feel about the progress that the show has made thus far, like from season 1 to season 3? I mean, because I'm obsessed with the show, but how do you feel about it?
Well, because I was a fan already before I got on it, I can actually see the progression and not be biased because I'm on the show now. Like, they're not real for real, because some people just gonna say that just because they own it, but I'm too much of a realist for that. Like, nah. I'm happy to be on it, but if I think season 2 is better, then I think that. But no, so far, like, I can tell the budget is bigger. It just looks bigger. It looks big. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always been a good show, and they've always had a great budget. But it's like they're utilizing the budgets, and they're like calling in all the resources, and they really calling all cars for this episode because, and I think the success of shows like Game of Thrones and Insecure have a lot to do with it too. So I want to say thank you to these shows and HBO for doing so well.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because
and The Rock too for doing so well.
Oh yeah, well The Rock goes without saying. Shout out to DJ, thank you. $7 Entertainment. I love y'all. $7 Productions. I love y'all so much. But like, yeah, you know, with Game of Thrones being so popular, they pulling in like 9-10 million viewers a week. And since they're our lead in, there's a lot of people who's just not even gonna change their channel because Game of Thrones was on. And then the first thing they see when it comes on is The Rock in a suit or The Rock with no shirt on. It's like, wait a minute, what's this?
Let's keep it on.
Let's leave it here and watch this. So thank y'all, Game of Thrones. I appreciate that.
Wow.
So what can we expect from your character this season? What type of sort of developments can we look forward to that you can tell us about?
I can say that he becomes, after this episode, you can see that he kind of like, I don't want to say gave in, but he kind of let his guard down a little bit, if you will, finally, for the first time to Jason, because he was actually showing, I feel like Hassan humanized himself this episode. He came out of the ego, came out of the, oh, I'm this big guy. Like, he's like, all right. When Jason was like, you tell me or I'm going to walk, and it was like, shit. All right, man, look. Like, it even got like a little bit, kind of tucked the tail a little bit. I had to like really, so I think you're going to actually see more of the human side of him. And I think he's going to go from the guy that some people might not like to the guy that people are going to like, the lovable bad boy. So I think you're going to see me develop and get a little bit more mature and maybe get me signed to a team. That's Jason's first job. Or I don't know. I don't know what team yet.
For season 4.
I don't know what team that Jason going to get me signed to yet, but I got Ancelotti working. I got Jason working. He better get this deal done by episode 5.
Okay.
I hope.
5. Ooh, that's coming up.
Okay, so really quickly, let's touch on the other kind of 4 points of the episode, and we'll have an open discussion. So Charles is going through his paces with Larry again, not being given credit, sort of finding a jewel in the rough, who now is not even starting. So we have that storyline. We also see that Spencer has some type of issue with Candace Brewer, who works for the NFL. Not sure in what capacity. We saw them on Jay Glazer's show, and they had a little interaction, and so Spencer was not quite the charming guy that we see him as. He kind of played Candace to the left, and so she is trying to warn him ever so subtly that he is making an enemy of the NFL. We see him go through his paces trying to see where the NFL is at on actually bringing a team to Las Vegas, and that they don't want Spencer involved. Surprise! And what is the other thing? And we talked about that briefly, about Ricky and Amber and about High Powered. So along with Hassan, what was your favorite moment of the show tonight? And what do you think the theme is, the best moment for you?
I think my favorite moment is when your character broke down about his past, because I've always said that this is kind of, it's turned more comedy. We know how much I love like the drama, and I like the character development. And even we've seen, even the last 2 seasons, like we'll see a player come in for maybe 1 or 2 episodes and leave. So I'd like to see us stick with the storylines to, you know, keep seeing these players and their past and their present. And I love that, you know, Ricky may be a dad. I mean, these are real things, and it's more about the human and the people in your lives and what you've gone through and what you can become. So that's what I want to see, you know, keep coming to.
Oh, she took my answer, but also, I think just everything was going on with High Powered is absolutely hilarious.
It is.
I think it's a shit show, if I can say that, but I enjoy watching it just unfold. But I think it also, no matter how funny it is, it has a powerful message behind it. That they believe, you know, marijuana can really help out these players, you know, and it's something that's going on right now. It's just we see more and more studies that are being shown, that are being done, on former players, and just how it's really affecting their health. And so I think that's very important. So I love to see this, and I love to see the conversation around it.
Yeah, the NFL just reached out to the NFLPA about joining forces to do a study on marijuana as pain management.
Yeah.
So
Good.
you know,
They
they
need
should
to.
have
Way
it.
better than the pills, which, by the way, we saw Spencer taking his pills. That was just like a little 20-second clip.
Maybe we're gonna go
was
back to
tossing
the
back.
hip problems and his possible pill
That was kind of
problem.
weird.
What about you? What was your favorite moment of this episode?
Let me watch it in my head for 2 seconds. My favorite moment, honestly, I think my favorite moment is my boy JD and my girl Brittany, Amber scene
When she hopped the fence.
When
That
she
was
hopped the
hilarious.
fence, man. When she hopped that fence, and then they had to check the iPad and check his scale. He like, I wasn't even with you. I wasn't even like,
She
yo,
is
that was-
strong. She is
Yo,
strong.
Yeah, she
Yo,
is.
and then he had the little dance and like, yo, JD is another one that like kind of took me under his wing on the show, even though we didn't have no scenes together. But he just always is like sits me down and
He
talks
seems so
to me.
cool and down to
Dude
earth.
is like ridiculously down. It's almost
Really?
it's almost like, dude, are you? Nobody's this nice and dope.
Right.
Like, bro,
Tell
are you?
tell your daddy. Like,
Nobody's this cool, bro. Nobody's this.
But
humble.
his dad is really cool, so
Yeah, no,
you
but
know.
JD's so
but,
dope,
you
man.
know,
JD's so
humble.
dope. He's
They're very
really humble.
like private, cool, down to earth people.
Yeah, like no,
see
he
that.
set me down, and like that was a big moment for me when we had a birthday party for Tiffany, the wardrobe stylist on the show, Tiffany Hasborn. She had a birthday party, and we were all there, and JD and Pauletta was like, Chris, can we get a second?
Sure, no big deal.
Sure. Take a seat. And just JD and Pauletta, we just talked for like maybe 5-10 minutes, but it was the most powerful 5-10 minutes. Like, I was like, yo, stop.
bestowing life advice.
I was
on
like,
you.
right, like,
Yeah.
I was like, stop. And she was like, I'm going to be looking for you now. I'm going to be watching because I watch it. And I said, okay, Miss Pauletta.
You got
I
lots of
said,
big fans.
I said, Miss Pauletta, I hope I don't let you down. I said, yes, ma'am. I promise you. I said, I'm going to do my best, man. Yes, ma'am. Like, that was a moment for me. That was like one of my biggest moments for me. I don't know why.
That's
It was dope. It was
That
dope.
is awesome.
It was a
For
super
real.
dope moment.
All right, so we are at that part of the show
What? Already? Oh.
where we are going to discuss predictions.
Yes, we are. There it is.
Your AfterBuzz TV.
So not just predictions for the upcoming episode and all the characters. You have to specifically talk about what we think is going to happen with Kassan's character.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not in on this, though, right? I can't do predictions.
Well, I mean, you can, but
I can just
no.
say what I'd like to happen. But
Yeah, we like that
way.
Yeah, we like that. So, okay, we're gonna start with Ivana because everyone's been taking your answers and your
I know
questions.
y'all
so nobody
have,
can take your
right?
answers.
Just jumping
I gotta
in,
write
so-
down.
Dang. Well, I mean, but again, like I said, I think that high powered will work. It's just they need a different strategy, and I just definitely want to see how that will unfold. Yeah.
Puff for pain. Puff for
Okay.
pain.
I'm curious about this. How Spencer's going to bring $300 million? Where that's coming from, or is that coming from Anderson Cooper? I don't know.
That's a question. That's a great question.
I could go crazy and say that you would sign with the Raiders, and the Raiders would come to Vegas, and then maybe next season we see like the real transition of what that could look like. High
would've been
power.
dope.
I think the one thing with high power is I think athletes and everyone's already taking weed for pain, so it's too bad that for some reason it can't just be what it is. Because like they said, it's so much better than the oxy or the painkillers. So
Yeah, they made that point too.
I don't know. And then I still think that maybe Amber's gonna like move in, and then I'm still hoping we see
they're
the
gonna
mom
have a
come back. Right,
relationship.
the mom finds out you're
yeah, I
having
think
a baby.
you're wishing
and
for the mom, and she
Right.
may not show up.
I kind of am
It's
too.
just
but
weird. They need to talk about it.
Wishful thinking.
So, Chris, what are you wishing for Kassan? What are you hoping to happen?
I'm hoping I get signed to the Raiders.
Yes.
We'll see. That would be like dope, like for many other reasons. 'Cause that's my
Obviously, that's your team.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that would be so dope. I'm hoping I get signed to the Raiders, and I'm hoping they're kind of, you know what I'm saying, they're doing my backstory right now, but I'm hoping I get a girlfriend pretty soon, like, or just like some
What?
type of.
You want to
Some
love
type
it,
of-
bro.
A genuine romantic relationship.
No,
So
I mean,
are you-
like, let me, you know
Well,
what I'm
was that
saying?
your
Like,
family then? Was that your mother cooking?
that was my grandmother cooking, and my the
And there
niece
was
that
kids
I
running
I didn't
around.
go. Remember, I didn't go to that meeting
Yeah,
for
so you didn't.
Jason?
Yeah, because you went to pick her up.
Because I went to pick her up.
Okay.
That was my niece, and I'm not exactly sure if that was my nephew, but I'm gonna assume it is.
Okay.
I'm gonna assume
So
that was my
Kasan
nephew.
has no kids, but he's a family man through his siblings. Like he takes care of his
Yep,
nephews.
yep.
Okay.
And
Do
that
we
was
think
my
that any of
grandmother's
your
house.
past is going to come back though? So you did.
Oh,
You
to hide
didn't.
trouble?
You didn't give
do.
up the person, right? That they asked you to. You didn't. Rat
No, I
someone
didn't,
out.
and that's why I took all the backlash. And then because I'm Kasan Teague and they're just my friends, I'm still responsible because I'm
Right.
the one who, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. So that's on me. So, you know, I gotta just bite the bullet, and I'm suffering right now. That's why I needed a super agent to go find me some money anyway, regardless of what's going on. Go find me some money, Jason.
So my prediction is a little bit of trouble for Kasan. I think that Amber and Ricky are gonna boo up, and high powered. More comedy with high power.
Yeah, I hope so.
You guys
I
are
hope so.
living it.
So that's our show for tonight. Make sure that if you're watching us on iTunes, if you're watching us on YouTube, it's YouTube, right? You can give us a thumbs up, iTunes, 5 stars. Thank you, Chris D. Lofton, for joining us
Yeah,
tonight.
thank y'all.
Thank you
I appreciate
so
that
much.
so Thank
Remind
y'all.
everyone where they can find you on all social media.
Okay, you can find me at Lambo Loft, Lambo LOFT on Twitter, Instagram. Everything's the same.
And Ivana, tell them where they can find you.
Hey everyone, thanks again for watching. You can find me on Twitter at Ivana L. Williams and on Instagram at Ivana.Williams.
And on the Insecure After Show coming up next.
Yes.
Uh-oh, she working.
And you can find me on both Twitter and Instagram at Suzette Bab.
And you can find me, Jill Monroe, everywhere at Stiletto Jill. And tomorrow night on the Power After Show with Bam Arison. Shout out to Bam. He's
Shout
in the
out to
studio
Bam.
right now.
Oh, boy.
I know he doesn't want me to do that, but I'm going to shout him out anyway. We'll be on the Power After
We
Show
love
tomorrow
Bam.
night. And next week, episode 4 of Ballers, right back here, 9 o'clock. Thank you for
So
checking
much
us
drama.
out. Make sure that you are here every week.
Every week.
And make sure that you're into Kasan. Let us know
Let 'em
that
know,
you
man.
enjoy the character.
Yes,
And
we're
we'll see you
Follow
next
him,
time.
follow him.
Make sure you
Follow
follow
me,
him,
follow
follow
me,
us, follow
follow me.
AfterBuzz TV.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.